Hey everybody, this is a Q&A for a lot of you out there who have been asking me a lot of questions. Thought I'd answer a few of these. The hem joints that I have on this, they are 1/2-inch hem joints. And according, to the camera, you guys, these don't look very girthy. And I think I probably will swap these out for 3/4 inch eventually. For now, I'm just going to kind of leave them because I don't want to be redesigning too much crap all at the same time, because then I'm just going to lose motivation. I'm going to leave these 1/2-inch hem joints in here for now. I know they look kind of weak, and no, they're not going to be screwed out this far. They're going to be all the way in. Some of you guys have asked me about, I should go over and check out Grotto 1, his build of his long travel suspension buggy that he's building. I have been subscribed to him for, I think, about a year, 2 years, something like that. Way back when he first was working on the rear end, and he got a new engine, and he had to hack it all apart because his new engine wouldn't fit in the thing. So I've been subscribed to him for a long time. So I know what he's working on and what he's doing and how he's been displaying his stuff. But the thing is that with his build, it's a long travel machine. And from what I've been finding out, that the longer travel you have, the less you have to worry about bump steer. Well, of course, there's other factors involved there, but for the most part, the longer A-arms you have, the less you have to worry about bump steer. At least that's what I'm reading about. So, yeah, I know about him and his build and stuff like that. I've tried contacting him once, and I didn't get any contact back, so I don't know. Maybe he's gotten to the point to where he's gotten so big where he doesn't, he's got a lot of subscribers, so I don't think he can actually get to everybody all the time. So, yeah, but I do know about him and everything. I've been subscribed to him for a while. You guys have asked me that maybe I should oil up these joints. Well, I'm going to eventually. I don't want to do it now because I'm working with this thing, and if I have oil inside these or any type of grease or anything like that, I'm going to eventually be getting it all over my hands and stuff, so I don't want to be doing that quite yet. Now, for some of you who went over and checked out that forum, minibuggy.net, you'll see that I have there's a guy over there who's helping me out with this, and he also even posted a video about his machine that he's got. Man, that thing's a little monster. He's Chicken, let me see here, Chicken 1974, and he posted a video, and it's a video response to my last video that I put out, and I'll leave a link to that video at the end of this video here. Now, I've gotten a good amount of people out there asking me about what I do, about how bad the economy is, and how hard it is to build stuff and that sort of thing. Up here in Montana, ever since the Clinton administration, 10, 15 years ago, he put pretty much a stop to a lot of logging up here. A lot of companies shut down here in Montana. So ever since that happened, the economy of Montana has been anywhere between the second to the third worst economy in the entire union. Here, you learn that if you don't work, you don't eat. And it's not a question of going out and working for somebody else. You go work for yourself. So you have to learn up here how to do things yourself. You don't go out, find a job, and put your life on autopilot, and there all your answers are cured. No. Here you struggle. I would not encourage anybody ever to move to this state. I moved here not realizing how bad it was, but yeah, I mean, the economy up here, and then after 9/11 and the whole United States started dropping in employment and all these problems that are going along in all these other states and how hard it is to find a job, up here in Montana, we didn't feel it. While the rest of the country went into some type of form of oppression, economic depression, or whatever you want to call it, Montana, well, didn't feel it. So, a lot of these people up here will use the excuse that the economy's bad. Well, yeah, the economy's been bad here for a long, long time. So, it's pretty difficult. That's why I do my own thing. That's why I've been doing my own thing. A few of you have asked how old I am. T-Man, how old are you? Well, this year I'm going to be 40. Yeah. Come August, I'm going to be 40 years old. A few of you have asked me repeatedly, even though I've put the information in a lot of my descriptions of my videos, where do I get my parts? Well, I either get my parts from BMI Karts, sometimes I'll get my sprockets and stuff from either McMaster Car or Surplus Center. I get most of my tires either from BMI Karts or Jed's Wholesale Tires on eBay. When it comes to buying, a lot of my parts I'll buy off of eBay, but I don't mess around and I don't go to auctions. Auctions, it seems like a lot of people who end up getting screwed over are turning around and doing auctions. I don't deal with auctions. I just go right to buy nows, and I find the cheapest product or the cheapest item, and I buy that. So that's pretty much where I get my parts. I don't deal with auctions. A few of you showed a lot of interest in my stickers on that one video I put out about my stickers that I got. I want to make a few more stickers and not sell them individually. I want to sell them as a packet, like 2 of this one, 1 of that one, or 3 of that one, and sell them as a packet instead of just sell them individually. But I'm going to have to wait until I can pull in a little bit more funding, hopefully this summer, before I actually can go out and have the company mass produce these things for me, because I want at least 100 of each on hand, and that's going to cost me a good chunk of change to do that. So yeah, so you guys are going to have to wait until I can get that going and pull in enough for that. So yeah, the stickers will be a packet type of thing when I get those up and going, when I can. Now, according to my last video, Chicken 1974, since he posted that video, I have watched that thing probably like 6 or 7 times, and he suggests that what I should do is that because of my connections and where my pivot is at on my rack and pinion, I should try to move it out so that way it's more in line, because in between these two is about an 1.25 inches, something like that. But I should try to line my pivot up with that, which would mean that I either need to cut my rack here and extend out maybe an extra inch on each side or something like that. So now to try to get, that's one way to do it, but I don't really want to be hacking into my rack here. From where this pivot is at in relation to everything, I would have to move it out about 1.25 inches. So that way it would be in line in that area. So what I could do is I could shorten this section of the frame in closer, 1.25 inches, and bring this in 1.25 inches, and that would make this rack, these pivot points, be in line with these swivels, with those points right there. However, if I do that, then that means I'm going to have to shorten this front end by almost 2.5 inches. Which means my tire distance is going to be shortened by 2.5 inches distance. My primary problem that I'm having because of all of this is my bump steer. So apparently, it seems that no matter where I place this in relation to these, higher or lower, the way these arms articulate is that when it goes up, they expand. The whole cart expands. When they go up, it expands. It goes higher, which means my tire distance expands, okay? Because of the arc. What my problem is now, before I cut anything up or do anything like that, if I connect this to there, at bump, this tie rod will pull back on my arm connection, causing my tire, because you guys are sitting in the driver's seat, causing my tire, because it'll pull on my tire, pull on that arm, and causing toe out. Okay? At rest, it'll be normal. At full bump, it'll probably toe out. But keep in mind something. the stroke or the travel on these arms is only going to be about that much. 2 inches. 2 inches of the stroke on the shock, which might articulate out here to being 4 inches of throw or whatever. So it's not really all that much. So the toe out on this tire isn't going to be all that much, depending upon where I put this in relation to my kingpin. If I go way out here, it won't affect it much. If I go in closer, it's really going to affect it a lot. Now that I know that I'm going to toe out, I don't want toe out. I don't, any amount of toe out wants your machine to split in half. I don't like toe out. I'm not going to deal with it. So what I'm going to do is this. Considering this is my travel, and that's all it is, just this. I don't have some 60-inch, thing going on here. I've got this. That's all I've got. So how am I going to make it so that way, at full bump, I'm going to toe in? Because that's what you're supposed to do. That's the accepted thing. At full bump, you want your tires to be slightly toed in. So, as it is now, I'm going to toe out. So what do? Well, I don't want to hack anything up. I don't want to start all over with all of this stuff. And I realized it when I was watching Chicken 1974's video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave everything as it is. I'm not going to cut nothing. I'm going to take my rack and pinion and I'm going to turn it upside down. And instead of having trailing arm on my spindles, I'm going to have forward positioned arms on my spindles. I'll have to put in my Ackerman, which means that the spindle's not going to be going back at an angle like that. It's going to be going forward, which means that my tire, I'm going to have to make sure I build it to the point to where the clearance of the tire, because the spindle connection for my tie rod connection is actually going to be going into the tire more. Okay? Because you have to line those up at the center of your axle. What that's going to do is that it's going to pull, when this flexes up to full bump, it's going to pull in and create toe in. So instead of hooking it back here, which is going to pull and toe out, I'm going to hook it up front here, flip the whole rack upside down, so that way my steering is correct. I'm not going to turn this way and then next thing I know I'm going, not do that. Because you have to put the rack and pinion upside down. And then it'll be bracketed underneath this bar, somewhere around there. I haven't even tested this out in my CAD or anything like that, but I know it's going to work because it feels right. And that's what's going to happen. So, that's how I'm going to set this up. I'm going to leave everything the same and just have to cut my arms and make them, well, I'm going to have to do this when I get the axle and everything in place. Which means this is going to stay like this for a long damn time. Well, maybe, depending on how fast I move and how good the weather is and all that kind of crap. If I've got money to buy more steel. Yeah, that's the answer right there. And since this is the amount of travel, my tires aren't going to be doing this crap. They're not going to be doing that. They might do this. If that. This is the only amount of stroke right there that this thing's going to have. It's not going to be going up and down, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to be doing that. It's just going to be a simple amount like that. So there we go. So watching his video did help me out. And I did notice that that's how he has his set up. See, this whole time I've been showing you guys having my rack and pinion set up as with trailing arms, not forward going arms. Forward going arms is going to give me, as they pull, toe in. So there's the answer. I don't have to change anything. All I got to do is figure out where I want my rack to go, how high I want it to go, and there we go. But for those of you guys who want to go out and check out that video, his video that he put out in response for, to help me out, you can check it right here. See this link right there? Yep, you can go check out his video. That goes right to his video. And I'm sure he's looking for some subscribers. And get over there and tell him to put out some more videos on his machine, because that thing's pretty cool. Alright guys, so I'll talk at you all later. Welcome, all my new subscribers, and stay tuned to the next one. See ya!